We're in Beaufort, South Carolina at Stewart Law Offices with the Brent Stewart.
It is me.
Been in business 30 years, and today we're talking about workers' compensation, another one of those topics that for many of us can be very complicated. And so let's just go back to the bare bones. Let's just kind of drill down. I'm assuming workers' comp means you've been injured on the job and you want to get compensated for that.
Yes, yes. And so
by your company, right?
Exactly. So in my understanding, going back to explain a little bit about how workers' comp started, was in the olden days,
right.
A company could get sued in something called third party.
Okay.
So when they got sued, you had to prove negligence against the company to have a case. Mm-hmm. So if something just happened, you did not have a case and couldn't get any money. The workers didn't like being hurt on the job and having no avenue to be paid while they're out of work. The companies didn't like getting sued in third party because in third party, you could get pain and suffering, loss of enjoyment of life, a whole bigger element of damages. Mm-hmm. So the legislation came down in the state and said, how can we make it a system where the verdicts aren't bankrupting companies can't get sued for millions, and injured people, whether they're injured with negligence or not, can get money. So that's how the workers' comp system came around.
Okay.
If you get injured on the job, you can't sue your boss in third party, so you don't have to prove negligence. So anything that happens on the job, if there is a work-related accident,
right.
you can bring a case. So it's limited the damage you can get, but open the door for the amount of people that can claim injuries when they're out of work.
So Brent, does every company, business have to have workers' comp?
No. So if you have a company that has under 4 employees, you don't have to have workers' comp.
Under 4?
Is it a good idea to have workers' comp? Yes, it is. So, and owners like myself, like I cover myself under my workers' compensation policy in case anything happens to me. But I think it's always a good idea to have workers' comp. But under 4, they can offer like different long-term, short-term disability policies. That they have health insurance. But I think it's always good to have something that if your employee gets hurt on the job and they can't get their income for a while, that you have something that kind of fills in that gap.
Does a company pay more workers' comp fees, basically, if they're more in a dangerous profession?
Absolutely.
Like
So
construction worker,
workers' comp insurance is like auto insurance and every other type of insurance. Actuaries come in and figure out how many claims are made, what is the average value of the claims, and they set the premiums in the way that they can make a ton of money, is my opinion. but that's how it's all set up, is that the insurance companies come in and the more dangerous, which is fair, if the claims are going to be bigger and there's more of them, you need to pay a bigger premium. If you're a bad driver and you wreck every 3 days, you need to pay more insurance. I mean, that's what it is. So in a manner, it's fair.
So let's talk about it from the employee's standpoint. So I've had an injury, and what do I do? Do I immediately tell my boss and fill out a form, and then what happens?
Absolutely. So you have 90 days to give notice to your employee or employer that you're injured. If you go over the 90 days, there's ways around that. Because the employer to deny your claim has to show that they were prejudiced by that lack of notice.
Okay.
But it's always good to tell your employer, hey, listen, I stumbled on the steps, fell, and I tweaked my back. If nothing happens, and it doesn't go on any further. But then if it does, you have notice later. Some things can aggravate as they go on.
Well, that's what I was going to say.
So
it could get worse.
You want to give notice to your boss, and I think it's proper, and it's good for your boss. He wants to know what's going on and what's out there.
All right. And so then what does the boss do?
So then the boss would file a report of injury.
Mm-hmm.
They should. Some of them don't want to do it because they're afraid of what that might do
to rates would go up.
To their policy. But I think the smart thing to do as an employer is to file that first report of injury.
Okay, very good. So again, workers' compensation is a wonderful thing to be able to have in this country. You talked about the evolution of it.
It is a wonderful thing to happen, and I think it's really good to fill in for people that have kind of moderate injuries. I think where it's lacking, if anything, in my opinion, is if you have a catastrophic injury, the damages are capped if it's not a brain injury or like a death claim. Mm-hmm. You only get 500 weeks of benefits, and the workers' comp, the amount per week is capped. So on average, no matter what you're making, if your spouse is killed and you have 3 kids and they're making $200,000 a year, your money that you're going to get is probably only about $500,000, which is a ton of money, but it's not a ton of money
When you're
when you're looking at your lifetime of benefits.
Okay, very good. Thank you so much again, Brent,
Thank
for
you.
your explanations. You get down to layman's terms for all of us that
That
are
may be because
attorneys.
that's all I'm smart enough to do, but let's not get into that.
Thank you so much. Again, Brent Stewart with Stewart Law Offices.